does. But instead of getting in his car and just driving away, he goes out to his BMW, reaches in, and pulls out a gun. And then, according to police, he opens fire. At first, it's just shots into the air, but then he turns his aim on the bar and starts firing into it. Good morning, everybody. This is Fox 10 Talks, and I'm Ron Hoon. We've got plenty to talk about with you guys this morning here at 10 a.m. But the guy is out there in the parking lot, decides to open fire on the bar that he'd just been told to leave, and then something pretty incredible happens because some people who are on the other side of the parking lot over by a bus stop, they also turned out to be armed. And so they start firing on the original gunman, basically in self-defense, with now bullets flying everywhere. So we have one dead, and there's just so much to this story. So here is exactly what police are saying about what happened here in the overnight hours. Take a listen.
So our officers got called to the area just shortly after 11:30 last night, where bar members and bar staff members had refused service for an individual who was extremely intoxicated. They escorted that individual out of the business. When that individual got escorted out of the business, he went to his vehicle in the parking lot, the black BMW, and retrieved a firearm out of the vehicle. Once he retrieved the firearm, he fired multiple shots in the air and then decided to fire multiple shots inside the business. One individual was struck by gunfire inside the business. That individual was taken to a local hospital with serious injuries and has since been he was released from the hospital shortly thereafter. This is an active, ongoing investigation. Everybody is cooperating with the investigation. There is a blue truck that is behind me. There were a couple of citizens who were sitting on the park bench behind that blue truck. When this individual was firing in the air and firing towards the building, they took action and ended up having a gunfire exchange in the parking lot, where the suspect was pronounced deceased in the parking lot. Once our officers arrived and we attempted life-saving measures, Peoria Fire Medical came on scene as well, and ultimately he was pronounced deceased.
The reason why you were calling this an isolated incident was because those general people that were sitting on that bench stayed on scene and they're cooperating with you at this time?
Yes, they did stay on scene. They are cooperating with the investigation. They are talking to our detectives. And at this point, we're trying to go through all the types of pieces of evidence, video surveillance, talking to multiple witnesses inside the business. At the time, there were 10 to 15 other patrons inside. Thankfully, nobody else was hurt and only one person was struck.
Both those guys in the truck, both shooting?
Only one of them at this time has been identified as shooting during this incident.
Do we know how long this parking lot will be blocked off for?
Yeah, so the parking lot's going to be blocked off for, I'd say, majority of the morning. The businesses will be reopened hopefully later this evening. But our detectives are going through a plethora of shell casings throughout the whole parking lot. Our forensic techs are out, doing measurements and distances from the vehicle, and so they'll be out here for majority of the morning.
Describe this, I think, at one point as a self-defense scenario here.
Yeah, so we're still trying to look into everything. Thankfully, these two individuals were sitting on a park bench out front with an armed subject that was in the parking lot that could have done a lot more damage than what he did. We're grateful that they stood up and took action and did what was right. With multiple witnesses being inside the bar and with only one individual being struck inside, we are definitely lucky.
So to update, we have one man who's died out here. The other bar patron has been released, so he's doing a lot better.
Yes, that is correct. So one man is deceased on scene. The bar patron has been released, with minor injuries. And then both individuals that witnessed the event in the parking lot are cooperating with the investigation. Our detectives are going to do a thorough investigation. Once they're complete with their investigation, they'll submit it to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office for review.
Chris, this seems like it all just started because of, how did all this start?
Yeah, so this all started, we initially got calls for a disorderly subject call for service where an individual became argumentative, verbal altercation took place inside the bar, then it escalated and went outside the bar. So he was ultimately refused service inside the bar, and an argument ensued with the business manager and then he took it into his own hands and went out to his vehicle and decided to fire several shots up into the air, and then fired several shots into the business as well. There are several strikes through the front door of the business, and then there are several strikes through the brick components of the building as well.
You know, I just want to quote one of you guys who are joining us in the chat this morning, and it's pretty simple. It came in nice and early this morning from Jim Bermudez, who said, in all caps, "What the?" Celeste, it just seems like we have had a very violent week.
We have.
You know?
You have this situation, if you recall, what was it, last Sunday night? Did we have the situation at that Glendale restaurant?
Week before.
So a week and a half ago or so,
Correct.
yeah. So you have these situations that are taking place in these West Valley cities, and it just makes you think, oh my goodness, like there's a lot of gunfire happening.
Yeah, and at the same time, you know, there are 5 million people that live in our city, and so we cover the big stories wherever they happen. Celeste mentioned several of these lately seem to have been in the West Valley, but then there was one that it is so hard to figure out how this could have ever happened in the first place. It happened out in kind of a quiet area of the far East Valley, and we are learning a little bit more about it. This is, a matter of fact, look, I've got the video right here.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, we want to get to that fire in a second, but let me just mention what happened in a string of shootings. Here's the guy with what we call an IA in the business, an initial appearance before a judge. And this is what we've learned about one of 3 deadly shootings in a 2-hour period earlier this week. The guy in Gilbert is accused of killing his landscaper at a house that he rents. So it happened near Power and Germain. Police say that the 28-year-old Wyatt Ford, that was who you saw going before the judge, he got into an argument with the landscaper who was just there trying to do his job and trim some trees. The landscaper, who now is dead, you know, and the family here suffering a horrible loss, 51-year-old Manuel Lopez, just out there trying to do his job. And so this particular guy, the suspect, has been identified, as we gave you his name there just a minute or so ago. Wyatt Ford, now facing a felony count of second-degree murder that could put him behind bars for a very long time. So we had... It's the list, Celeste, it's too long to go through of the violence that has hit our city over the course of the last about week and a half.
Oh, it makes you think too, you know, with the situations that take place at some of these restaurants or public things, like the gentleman with his landscaper, that's more of an isolated incident. But some of the other, like at the restaurant in Glendale, there were other people who were at the restaurant, other families.
It's a really good point. And you know, on that second one, who walks out to talk to a landscaper armed?
Right.
I mean, it is very much out of control. But we're going to follow both of those stories this morning. And then there was that big firefight right here. Boy, oh boy, was this thing burning into the night sky last night. We're going to tell you a little bit about what we've learned. It happened, you know, for folks who watch us, Celeste, from all around the world, and we have a lot of people who do, it might sound weird to say this happened in the bed of the river. Salt River. But parts of the Salt River have been turned into lakes. Other parts are just scrub brush. But boy, you know, as dry as we are here in the desert, it can get really bad in terms of fuel for the fire. And this was just maybe 2 miles or so right down south of the downtown area, 7th Avenue, Lower Buckeye Road. The flames just roaring into the night sky. It did prompt a massive response. Phoenix fire crews were out there, and they got on it fast, and they managed to knock it down. But even then, it took a couple of hours. And we still, at this point, don't know what was behind that fire in the first place. But, I mean, I can tell you this. There was no lightning. So natural causes probably not more likely.
It's probably human caused.
It's probably human caused.
We don't know yet, but yeah. And this part of the Salt River bed, you have It's crazy to think, but you have so much brush and dry vegetation over the course of, many, many years, because this part doesn't see much water at all.
Here is another question for you this morning. Did you even know, I'm asking you, Celeste, but I'm also asking everybody who's watching here, both locally, mostly locally, did you know that we had a gang of people? They gave themselves a name. They call themselves the Kia Hyundai Boys, Z on the end boys, that have been out there stealing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cars.
I had no idea when we had this story
right
this morning. What was it? More than $800,000 worth of these vehicles.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you that criminals really aren't that smart.
Yeah.
Because why would you label yourself that name? Do you recall in Home Alone when they gave themselves the two burglars?
Oh yeah, the wet bandits.
Yeah. And
yes.
it's like, okay, well, we're now going to link you to all of these crimes.
We're the bandits.
We're the bandits.
Yeah,
And they left
I know
water
it.
on in all the
Yeah.
homes.
Oh.
It's like, why do you do what?
Right. Now, we love to salute great detective work. As a matter of fact, we're going to go right to it here because an arrest has now been announced. This is once again, there's a mugshot, but there's also the initial appearance for Joshua Hicks, who actually told the detectives, I'm not going to stop stealing these cars. Quote unquote, I'm not going to stop stealing vehicles.
That's so crazy.
So he got arrested last Friday in Scottsdale, apparently kind of caught red-handed. But they're saying that this particular theft ring has stolen, like Celeste just said, almost $1 million worth of cars.
Yeah.
So thank you to good detective work right there. And this ring, we don't know how big it is, but I can tell you this, it's been going on for the last 3 years in 23, 24, and 25. But it looks like they've cracked the case.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully they put these guys behind bars for sure.
Hey, coming up next here on Fox 10 Talks, hello to all of our brand new viewers around the world. Nonstop flights from Phoenix to Asia. People have wondered forever, when is that going to happen? So where can you go in Asia? And, you park your car at the long-term parking, you get on a plane, you land, and you're in Asia.
Yeah, you go to economy lot. Next thing you know, you're in another country.
We're going to talk about that. Plus, oh boy, what happens when a dump truck drives right into and practically through somebody's... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The Mystery Cam is showing you, you look at this live, which is happening right now with one of our great live cams. We have hundreds of them around the world. But as you take a look right here, you're thinking, what, is this like Mayberry and it should be the 1950s in black and white
It's
or
so
something?
perfect.
It's like the most picture perfect. And by the way, the people who live in that house with the porch, they love Ireland.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to go Michigan with this one. And Ron, I know we didn't get a whole lot of time for folks to guess.
Right.
So can I give a couple of shout outs?
Of course.
From the chat box?
Of course.
Or may I? Okay, so listen to Sherry Nevada Pup. Good morning. I'm watching on my tablet on the local app today, sitting out on my patio, enjoying the sunshine.
Oh,
and that
that's
sounds
so great.
perfect. I
Yeah.
said, I love it. Jen Zwall says Michigan as well. Sassafras and Co., who I'm not sure if we've heard
they're
from
new.
Sassafras.
Hello, Sassafras, and welcome aboard.
They were chiming in on the reaction to the mugshot of the gentleman who's been arrested in that Kia Hyundai boys case.
Gosh, yes, right.
He said, if Milli Vanilli had a son.
Hey, by the way, how about another new viewer? It's Starry Cat 4, I think it is. Star 4, Starry Cat 4. Anyway, Good morning, all. Thank you for another great day. How about the shoe cam? I love those shoes. Everybody was talking about yesterday morning. It was so funny because it was National High Heel Shoe Day.
Yes.
And Syleste has a bit of a collection. And I thought, well, I'm going to show off since we're kind of, I'm not calling you a show off. I'm just saying you were showing off your shoes.
Thank you for clarifying, Ron.
And so I kind of went sort of highbrow myself and decided, hey, why don't I show my shoes?
And you thought you'd put on like your fancy Skechers.
They're like,
They're super fancy.
$59 Skechers. But hey, I love wearing them, that's for sure. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to go
Thank you
Michigan
all.
2. Here it is. And ladies and gentlemen, here we go now on the Syleste Cam with the answer.
Mackinac Island, Jenswall
I think
says.
that's exactly what it is.
Michael Lewis says Lancaster, PA.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you know, that was one of my first thoughts when I saw the horse-drawn carriage coming through. I
Right.
thought Amish country, but okay.
And also, Frankie D said PA as well. B. Miguel said Massachusetts. Lisa Dinsmore said Ireland, probably because of the Irish flag. So let's
Okay.
go.
All right, here we go.
Here is the official Mackinac Island,
Yeah.
Michigan.
Don't pronounce it Mackinac.
No, it's
Mackinac.
Mackinac. And we have a lot of, if you're in Mackinac Island or you are maybe watching from there or you're from there and you're watching the valley,
Or you're from Michigan.
we have a lot of Michiganders who
yeah?
winter here. We did not know how to say this for a little while, the Mackinac Island. I met a woman at a grocery store parking lot, and she watches the show.
Ooh.
And so she recognized me, walked up, and she goes, I know you guys were having trouble with that. It's Mackinac Island. Thank you. We love all of you for helping us out, so thank you for that.
Here's one we don't have trouble with. Sky Harbor Airport. I am so
Yes.
fascinated. In the last year, we've now added nonstops to Paris, and we're about to get one to Taipei, Taiwan. Imagine parking your car, long-term parking, which, by the way, is getting a little too expensive, Sky Harbor.
How much is it now for that
Word
economy?
up to, I think it's $18 a day.
What?
I think.
For economy?
Yeah, if they haven't raised it in the last week or two.
Wow, it's pricey.
But there goes a plane taking off. Anyway, you land many hours later. That's a long flight. And you find yourself in Taipei, Taiwan.
I wonder how long would it take to fly there?
I think it's about 17 hours. But
Wow.
I'm going to show some pictures here from Taipei.
That's beautiful.
Isn't it?
Look at those mountains in the background.
Yeah. I mean, it's really excellent. You know, on our whole staff, I only know one person who's been to Taipei, and that is Ty. Ty in Taipei. It's like it was made for him.
That's right.
And he went and visited there, and I got another shot here. I mean, that is one sparkling city, like so many that you see
so
in
gorgeous.
Asia. But if you go to maybe a few other places in Asia, you can really see some of the beauty. For example, right here, look at the Philippines.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Do you know, Syleste, on our staff, who has traveled back and forth between here and the Philippines?
Who is that you?
No, never been.
who is
but
that?
Isabella has. Good
Oh,
morning,
that's
Isabella.
awesome.
Okay, yeah, we're going to work on our mic here for just a half a sec. But
Do you know the Philippines was run by the Spaniards?
Oh, yes.
For many, many years.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And then it became like one of our possessions.
Yes.
And then William Howard Taft, went over there as sort of the man in charge.
I have a girlfriend who's was born in the Philippines. She lives here now.
Nice.
Our daughters are friends. But she gave me kind of like a quick history.
Nice.
She's a devout Catholic. And she said, well, the Spaniards brought Catholicism here and to the Philippines.
Okay.
So it's a very Catholic country.
And then leave it to the Americans to bring Protestant churches, which are happening all over the place over there as well. Anyway, Isabella, why did you end up going to the Philippines? How many times have you been?
Yes, so I've only been once, but I've also been to Taiwan as well. But my mom's side of the family still lives over there. So I think it's amazing that Sky Harbor is now offering flights there, because now I can go from Arizona over to Asia. I think that's great.
No, so are the beaches... I mean, these pictures are to be just mind-boggling. Are they really like that?
Is this
with the
real?
white sand and the aqua blue waters?
Yeah, the beaches are beautiful. White sand beaches are exactly what you're seeing in those photos is what it looks like in real life. It's stunning. So beautiful over there.
Which family or what family do you have over there in the Philippines?
So my mom's parents still live over in the Philippines, as well as her brother, and a lot of my cousins are over there. So.
Oh, that's really great. Hey, we've got a treat, I think, for everybody. Let me call up on our Zoom right now, ladies and gentlemen. There's smiling Lindsay Taylor, and she's with Travel Leader 365. Lindsay, when the news broke yesterday, you had to be pretty happy. I bet you're going to she's, one of the top travel agents here in the Valley. I bet you people are going to love nonstop flights to Asia.
Certainly. I know I do. I love any nonstop flight. I have a joke, I'm allergic to connections. So as we saw with all of the other European nonstops that we have, my favorite is that American NBA flight, Phoenix to London Heathrow. And then once you land Heathrow, you go anywhere else in Europe. And I'm really excited for this nonstop Taipei flight to do the same thing. Land Taipei, you just talked about the Philippines. You can very easily get to Philippines from Taipei. Tokyo is a short flight, Singapore, Bangkok, Hanoi. So you can really kind of get wherever you need to get from this nonstop. I love putting the long haul at the front of a trip is kind of the best way to do it, so that you're mitigating the risk of lost bags. If you've got kiddos with you, you can just let them sleep till you get there, and then you don't have to shuffle through an airport and get them settled again.
Yeah.
So many benefits
so great.
to this
By the
flight.
way, as soon as you mentioned Singapore, I'm popping up pictures here. There's that hotel that looks unbelievable.
That is
Have
gorgeous.
you heard from any of your clients who've actually been either to Singapore or to Taipei?
We've got clients who are going everywhere. On the leisure side as well as the corporate side, and they're certainly, our Phoenix-based clients are certainly thrilled for this development. But Singapore is definitely a fun destination too.
You know, you hear constantly about some of the Asian countries that, it's a lot less expensive to travel to this part of the world. Have you seen any interest grow over the last couple of years to these parts of these countries here in this part of the world?
Absolutely. It has, since post-pandemic, there was that time we couldn't really get to Asia. As it's been opened and the countries have kind of really developed their tourism approaches, their infrastructures even further, definitely seen a huge increase in our traffic to Asia.
Well, now here's what we've learned so far. This is according to the mayor's office, but it's going to be Starlux Airlines straight into Taipei, Taiwan. Roughly how long of a flight is that? About 15 hours, would you guess?
I'd say, I didn't actually look. I wish I had looked to see the exact time frame.
Yeah.
From LA to Sydney, it takes about 15 hours. So I'd say it might be a little bit more than that. But truly, Starlux has an amazing premium product. So if you're at the front of the plane, you just take a long nap and drink some champagne and you'll be fine. If you're at the back of the plane, just line up those movies and you'll get right through it.
Yeah, that is so true. Do you hear people wanting to take trips too based on food? I believe I was just doing a little research. Taiwan's most popular dish is often considered to be beef noodle soup, which sounds delicious.
Oh, I bet.
But do you hear people that say, I'm a foodie and I want to go here because I want to try these meals?
Absolutely. Gastronomy is such a huge reason to travel, and Asia has such a wide variety of gastronomy. So certainly that has been a driver for a lot of people.
Well, that's great. So the word is that they're going to start, and this is interesting to me as well, because they say they're going to start 3 or 4 times a week, which is exactly, I believe it was 3 times a week when Air France came in and said, we'll see how it goes.
Speaking of champagne.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think they've now upped that to 5 days a week or maybe 7 days a week. And they even put a bigger plane on it because these airlines from around the world are waking up to the fact that we're one of the biggest metro areas in the country, 5 million people, and they want to travel.
Right.
Right, Lindsay?
Definitely. And it continues to grow. Phoenix, I mean, the semiconductor just by itself is kind of a testament to how the valley has been growing in such a beautiful way, which is going to help drive that traffic then to Taipei too. But certainly Phoenix is becoming more and more on the map, and we're definitely seeing the benefits of that.
Wow, look at that beautiful shot. Lindsay, one last question. What's on your bucket list for 25 or 26 in terms of like hot travel destinations for you? You've seen all kinds of cool places.
For myself, I really want to get back to Africa. It's been my dream. I love elephants, are my heart animal, and so I really need to get back and see some elephants these next couple years.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll be able to make that happen.
Okay, Sky Harbor, listen up. I know it's not just Sky Harbor. They got to work with these airlines. Let's get a nonstop to Nairobi.
Let's do it.
Right? Something along those lines. Okay, Lindsay, thanks very much for your time. Yeah, Celeste, I think it would be really interesting I would love to see a nonstop to Ireland.
Yeah, that would be
You
great.
have to put that on your bucket list.
Yes,
Those are some of the
Ireland.
friendliest people. It's so beautiful there.
They have all those pubs with the Irish beer.
Yeah, sure. Of course, you bring that up to the non-drinker.
Okay, got a question for you.
Okay.
Because speaking of Africa, as Lindsay just mentioned,
right?
Is a zebra black with white stripes or white with the black stripes?
Oh, Celeste, you're going to break the internet with that one. Okay, so we've got another break coming up, but you can join us in the chat. Thank you, Isabella, for sharing some of those stories as well. I did take a nonstop to Beijing once.
Yes.
Well, actually, it was a hop in Dallas, which I'm like, why are we flying to Dallas to get to Beijing? But you fly over the North Pole, and it was about 15 hours. So just brace yourself. If you're getting one of these nonstops to Taipei,
yes, take lots of
snacks. It will be a long flight. Get yourself ready with a nice long Audible book or something along those lines. Okay, join the convo. And Celeste, you can just let us know if anybody's got any comments in that regard. We love all of our
Isabella
chatters.
said phenomenal food in Asia.
Oh.
Folks are talking about now I can fly to Asia from here, not just to LA or Seattle, Isabella shared, because, she goes to the Philippines.
Oh, by the way, look at this. We'll be right back. And we Welcome you back, everybody. That's Drummond, Michigan. Take a look at that lake. If you're a fisherman, you're looking at that and saying, look, at nobody else is on the water. Let me go out onto the fishing hole.
So great. Okay, so there's plenty of chatter about the zebra, black with white stripes or white with black stripes.
Oh, yeah? What are they saying?
Lots of people are sharing. So Lisa Dinsmore was one of the first to respond, say it's black with white stripes.
Okay.
And she's correct.
Okay.
Because if you look underneath their fur, I guess
Yeah.
the skin is actually of the zebra is black.
Now, tell me, Celeste, how do you approach the zebra to look underneath its fur? What's the first step in that
That's
process?
actually coming from the Wildlife World Zoo, who apparently has their zoologists know very. Also, Michael Lewis said ChatGPT says the zebra is black with white stripes. Michael Lewis and ChatGPT,
Yeah.
you are correct.
That's a winning combination right there is what that is. By the way, coming up here, don't worry, fans of the Dave Cam. It's coming up. Dave's coming up in a minute here, right after our political report from our Doug Luzader. But, hey, you know what? I don't know if you want to call it a surprise in surprise, but it looks like that couple is finally going to get some action from City Hall.
Okay.
Remember the one, there's a curve in the road out there in Surprise. They put up a sign saying, we're fed up.
Yeah.
People keep crashing through our wall. Some come, these cars right at our house. And so at the meeting last night, at the Surprise City Council meeting, the vice mayor actually spoke up about it and said, we got to get something done regarding all of this. Here's what he had to say.
This is not okay. Will not continue. So with that being said, Bob, we need to get to work on this. Okay, we need a solution. I'm not going to accept minimum to nothing as an answer. We cannot change the past, but I'll be damned if we can't change the future.
And there's the sign. And this couple, you can understand their frustrations. It seems to me that basically you got a curve in the road that people are taking too fast.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they need to lower the speed limit or just put more officers out there and, give citations to people. It doesn't take long for the word to get out in the neighborhood. Hey, did you see there were some officers on speed patrol?
Did you hear him though, Ron? He said they can't even sleep in their bedroom.
Master bedroom.
Yeah.
I know it. Well, anyway, I mean, it's not hard to believe their story, particularly as frustrated as they are. But Celeste, there's also a story that shows what can happen when a truck. Now, in this case, they're worried about cars. I think maybe a truck.
Right.
Plowing through their wall. But I have some video that's going to blow your mind right here. This was a dump truck back east. Let me see where this was. In New Jersey. Wait till you see this. I mean, the dump truck just didn't kind of like accidentally bump the house. Ready for this? Look at this.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me?
And I mean, it's buried so deep in there. Look at the tires. I mean, the tires have almost submerged themselves below ground.
Oh, my gosh. Well, and, let's say you're in the kitchen just making breakfast or lunch.
Okay.
And next thing you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really dangerous.
It's a scary
it's
deal.
So sad.
Scary deal. So here's what we're told is there was a guy at home. He was hospitalized, but he's going to come out of it okay. Non-life-threatening injuries. It is not clear what time of day, but you know what? People could have been in that very spot in the house. Looks like maybe the back side of the house where it happened. That whole house, I would think, is going to have to be demolished and start over. That's not one you can remodel. And the poor guy had just put up some solar panels up there on the roof.
Yeah.
He's living a good life.
Here's the thing. Kim Winnett said in the chat, she goes, the wall, where she's talking about the Surprise situation in Arizona, the wall was crashed into 18 times. She couldn't believe it. That's wild.
Yeah.
This situation, people are chiming in the chat and said, people need to pay attention when they're driving. It does bring up the question, is a distracted driver? We don't know what caused it, right?
In this one, it was a medical emergency that the driver had. So we hate to hear that as well.
That's so sad.
Okay, let's talk just a little bit about the big, beautiful bill, because that's our poll question. Look, I'm going to show you.
What makes it beautiful, Ron?
I don't know, Celeste. It's like 1,000 pages.
I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You've heard it before.
Celeste. All right. Here, we would love to hear your feedback. Grab that QR code, and we'll see these numbers move around. But what should be the top priority? Get serious about out-of-control government spending or no tax on tips and overtime. That's what the president promised. You got a couple of other options, including scrap the whole thing. Too many tax cuts for the rich. But here is what Fox's Doug Luzader had to say about it all in his report.
The work started just past midnight here on Capitol Hill, and it didn't take long for this to get heated.
We may be here in the dead of night, but you do not need the light of day to smell manure.
Democrats fighting Republican efforts to pass President Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill of tax cuts and new spending priorities, delaying it, but perhaps unable to stop it.
They cannot complain about reporting legislation in the dark of night when the only reason it went so late was because of their own actions.
The one big, beautiful bill will include $25 billion for the Golden Dome.
The president yesterday in the Oval Office touting a new U.S. missile defense shield that would be funded in part by what has become his signature piece of legislation.
That was a meeting of love. Let me tell you, that was love in that room.
The president met with Republicans on Capitol Hill yesterday, hoping to win over a small group of conservatives who have been pushing for deeper spending cuts over deficit concerns, all of them under enormous pressure to wrap this up and fly home.
Jet fumes is the most powerful elixir in Washington, and we all know it.
I predict they will see the Memorial Day vacation fittering away, and they'll pass it. And then the challenge for the speaker is going to be passing what comes back from the Senate. That's, to me, the bigger challenge.
That may be the bigger challenge. Now, if all goes according to plan, Republican plans, there could be a full House vote on this, maybe even later today, clearing the way for lawmakers to leave town for that long holiday weekend. Ron.
Doug, do I have this right? There are really two groups that the president needs to kind of bring into the fold. One, as you described in your report, a number of conservatives who say he's not doing enough to control costs. But then there's this other group from sky-high tax states like California and New York and some others. There are some Republicans in those blue-leaning states who say we got to have more of a tax deduction to help with all the taxes we pay.
Yeah, that's the SALT caucus, they refer to them, state and local taxes. That's a bipartisan caucus, mostly Democrats, some Republicans as well from high tax states, New York, California, that are concerned about the deductibility of state and local taxes. There are reports this morning that they have struck a deal on that aspect of the bill, and if that's the case, that will certainly help Republicans, but they still have to deal with fiscal conservatives who are concerned about the overall level of spending here.
And Doug, you and I, we live these crazy schedules where we're up at 3 in the morning, that kind of a thing. But why were they meeting in the middle of the night, like at 1 in the morning? What was that all about?
Yeah, they've been at work for 7 hours now. That had to do with the timing. They were trying to get this done as quickly as they can. There are some pauses that are kind of built into the process here, and 1 a.m. was about the earliest that they could have this meeting.
All right, good. It's amazing to see that. These guys fly home on Thursdays. They wander back into D.C. on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Yep.
Doug, all right. Thanks very much. We'll see you tomorrow. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is. A lot of your fans are breathing a sigh of relief. They're like 38 minutes into the streaming show, and we finally get to see Dave.
They were about to protest, Dave.
Yeah,
like
I know.
They were about to make their way to the station here.
I was about to protest, and I punched the buttons.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Sounds like an inner struggle, Ron.
Yeah, there you go. Dave, what do you see? And the thing that's so great is you can grab that QR code, and a lot of people love to vote. But then if you go onto YouTube, sometimes we get hundreds of comments. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so we've got a few comments in here. Skater Dude Productions says lower taxes for people who make less than $200K a year. Jonathan Newburn, 2747, says tax the rich. And PSCA 1988 says, I'm all for cutting government spending, but if you're going to take an axe to programs for the average American, then rich people and corporations shouldn't get a tax cut either. So thanks for commenting, guys, and keep the conversation going.
All I know is that Dave popped up on the screen and the number went up to 95.
Look at that. He's a popular man, that's for sure.
Big D.
Dave, we have so much fun working with Dave behind the scenes every day.
Yes.
By the way, I had the whole lineup. It's a fair amount of work getting the lineup for the show all set and ready to go. I normally have it by like around 8:30. Dave walked in at 7:59.
Oh.
The whole thing was done. I
Yes,
thought I was going to
so
give him a heart
amazing.
attack. But Celeste, do you have a thought?
Couple hellos
Yes.
to Dave and the Aviator. He's in Germany.
Oh, right.
Watching us.
Our worldwide audience.
He said, there he is. Hi, Dave. Michael Lewis says, Dave. And then B. Miguel said Dave as well. So
Oh, that's
good morning
great.
to all of you. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
All right, well, let's jump back in now that you guys have had a chance to digest it, to get the report straight out of Washington. Doug Luzader's so good, by the way, with his reporting. And here is how the numbers are shaken out right now. They just changed again.
I don't think overtime should ever be taxed. I threw this in the chat.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I really don't. Because,
right.
okay, what you have is a situation. Let's say you pick up a couple of extra shifts at work.
All right.
You know, you're like, I need some extra money.
Sure.
But when the paycheck comes, if that puts you over into the next tax bracket,
Ooh.
then you're taxed even more.
Right.
This shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Like if you're putting in the extra work on OT,
Yeah.
that should be yours to keep.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I still remember we call it a phoner in the business, where sometimes people aren't able to do like a Zoom call, and we just get
Yes.
somebody on the phone.
Mhm.
And shortly after Donald Trump entered the race the first time around, when he went down the escalator at Trump Tower,
Yes.
and he held that big news conference, like a few weeks later, I believe, he was on the phone with us. Remember Rick D'Amico?
Yes, of
Rick was
course.
interviewing Donald Trump.
That is
At the
awesome.
very beginning of his political career. And so we don't know if he's watching today, but somebody at the White House, but I can tell you this is what our people are saying in our poll. They're right there with Celeste. Of everything in this big, beautiful bill, stick with the campaign promise. Make sure there's no tax on tips and no tax on overtime.
Yeah.
By the way, that number has now gone up to 44%.
And I think I just heard from Trump's people, he's watching the stream.
Oh, I'm sure. We got people all around the world, that's for sure. We had that new viewer this week from Brazil.
Yes.
We love that.
I know. Oh, and folks are talking about their plans for the Memorial Day weekend.
Nice.
Do you have any big plans, Ron? In the chat?
No, I'm working on Monday on Memorial Day,
Yeah.
so it'll be a normal,
Yeah, me too. I'll be here with you.
sleep-in kind of weekend.
We should have a
and-
barbecue here.
Yeah, we should. Okay, so 30% say, look, would you get serious about cutting out of control government spending? A lot of the reports say things like they're cutting, way, way back. What we're really talking about, the vast majority of the time, is slowing how much they're spending. The spending potentially still would go up. Your other options in the poll question, oh, look at that, 48. We're almost to 50% on that no tax on tips. 14% say scrap the whole thing, too many tax cuts for the rich, and 8% say prescription prices, please. Focus on that. We have a break, and we're back in. By the way, for you fans of Isabella, she's going to join us again. I also see she's in on the chat right now. She's like, hey, be sure to tune in to the FTT stream at 3 o'clock for more live streams that we are working up with Brian Webb and Trenton Hooker. They got a big story they're working on. Matter of fact, Trenton, Celeste, was the one who came to me this morning and said, I have a really great story that would be new for you guys on Fox 10 Talks.
Okay.
And the video right here, we love our natural beauty in Arizona. This is going to make your blood boil, but I'm going to go ahead and just roll it. Here is what somebody caught.
Oh, no.
You know
What's
what those
he
guys are doing? They're vandalizing Cathedral Rock in Sedona.
Not cool.
Not cool at all. And so
and their faces are right there.
Yeah, the Sedona Red Rock News first obtained the video showing these guys, these young men, vandalizing one of the most popular Red Rock sites in our state. Witness recorded the video on the trail, and these guys may not have been. Oh, look at this. They're actually they're taking pictures of their own handiwork.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know it. Anyway, they snapped some photos. Here's what we can tell you. And again, thank you to Trenton for finding this video. And this is the first time we've been able to share it either on TV or online. But the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office is saying they have received some calls about the incident. They are looking into it. But if you think, we don't know if these hikers actually came from here in town or, if they're tourists from a different part of the country or whatever. But it's just not cool. And we thought we could share that video with you.
That is not cool.
I know.
That's a bummer.
Okay, back here in the city of 5 million people. That's what we are. It still boggles my mind. When I moved here, Celeste, there were 1 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I grew up in a little town called Wenatchee, Washington.
Yes.
Well, actually, I was born in a town smaller than that called Omak, Washington.
Yes.
We had the only stoplight in Okanogan County.
Okay.
That's how small that town was.
Okay.
And so, I'm comfortable in the small towns, and I thought, boy, this is a big city, 1 million people. A city of 1 million. Now we're 5 million.
It is nuts. So back in the 1800s when my family was first here.
Yes, I know it.
We all lived where Arizona State University's Sun Devil Stadium is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
And then they're like, move on, people. Because they wanted to build, at one point, it was the normal school. ASU is called the normal school.
And
Tempe.
what did your progenitors, what did they feel about a normal school?
Well, they felt it was a little unfair that they had to leave their home. But we had to move out to areas in Tempe and Mesa.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but we just slowly started to grow because people started coming out here thinking that they could escape asthma and it would help them, I know. But now we're so busy that our pollution isn't, it's kind of stinky sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, when you moved here, what was the freeway system like?
Celeste, the Superstition Freeway dead-ended into a wall of dirt at Country Club.
No way.
So you get off the 10 and onto the 60, and you're just enjoying your drive at 65 or 70 miles an hour.
Yes.
And you're like, there goes Rural Road. There goes McClintock. Whoa, there's a big wall of dirt.
Stop.
I got to get off. Which I think about that today. There's a Holiday Inn right there. But, you're barely into Mesa at Country Club. So it goes, we are one of the very few cities in America, for those of you in other parts of the world who haven't been here yet, there's it's like, I will not be in touch with reality. We will not build freeways for a growing city.
I know.
I go back to Seattle. I love Seattle. I went to school there at the UW. But it's the same I-5 freeway that was there in the 70s when they already had traffic jams.
They need leaders like ADOT because they're moving.
We do catch up on it, that's for sure. But when it comes to traffic, Celeste, there is a lot of chatter about whether these reversible lanes are going to go away. There's a huge meeting today. Let me bring you the very latest. Some people call them the suicide lanes, but others love them. 7th Street and 7th Avenue. And it's really interesting because a petition was finally presented to the city not too long ago with more than 4,000 signatures saying, look, it worked fine in the 60s, in the 70s, and the 80s. Mm-hmm. But now people are confused. It's too confusing to drive in that center lane. So they have a meeting set for later today, and they're going to address whether or not opponents say they're confusing and they're dangerous. And they say, some people like them, a lot of people don't. We'll see what comes out of that meeting today. And they may go away. Do you have a feeling? Because you drive up and down 7th Avenue. That's like your life.
I think they should be used as passing lanes.
Okay.
But that's, because when you get a ton of gridlock downtown Phoenix in the tunnel, the Duck Park Tunnel,
right.
Lots of people use those to get up North Phoenix, and down to the south if you're up in the north part of the valley.
Right.
It's a popular thing to use, but it's very dangerous.
Now, this is the side of Syleste for when she runs for office someday. Really not taking a side on that one, but presenting both sides.
I like them.
Okay.
I do like them, but I think they should be used as just, because there's a couple times where people don't abide by the rules going in the opposite direction.
Right.
And so then you're driving in that lane and you're headed straight for somebody who's right in front of you.
I've seen that happen.
And you're like,
it's
hello,
nuts.
the sign says do not drive this direction at this time of day.
I got a feeling they're going to go away. Celeste, we learned the sad news. By the way, this is the last time we saw George Wendt when he was on The Masked Singer.
Oh.
And by the way, it wasn't that long ago.
No.
And he was willing to get into that costume and sing away. We learned the really sad news that this longtime star of the wonderful hit Cheers passed away yesterday. He was a family man, a well-loved friend, and confidant to those lucky enough to know him. A Chicago native, he got his start at the Second City main stage back in the 70s, and he just became iconic as Norm sitting at the bar at Cheers. But I thought we could chat about it for a second. He was a favorite. Some of the early cast pictures that we have seen, Ted Danson in Cheers looks like a teenager. He was great on that show. But
Ted Danson is from Flagstaff, Arizona, by the way.
There you go. If you had to pick your favorite TV sitcom star, you already know who you're going to talk about?
My favorite TV sitcom is probably highly inappropriate for a child. But it's Three's Company. I just love Jack.
Okay, Jack.
Yeah. I thought he was hilarious.
Yes,
I mean, I was a little kid, so I didn't know the difference that he was living with these two women, and he was constantly staring at one woman's chest. But I had no idea.
Okay.
But I thought he was so funny.
Well, Celeste, stand by, everybody, because we're also going to be checking. There she is again. There's Isabella. She's got some opinions about this as well. But I also thought I would share, Isabella, that mine goes so far back. My favorite sitcom star of all time, Don Knotts, as he made Mayberry what it was.
Yeah, he
right.
did. You're right.
He was Deputy Barney Fife, the man with one bullet in his belt.
Jack Tripper.
Yeah, so you like Jack Tripper.
Yeah, Jack
I like Deputy Barney Fife. All right, Isabella, you got a fave of sitcoms?
I do. My favorite sitcom is How I Met Your Mother, and my favorite character is Robin because she's a journalist and she's navigating her life around her job, so I kind of relate with her.
Oh, that's great. In fact, Celeste, this would be the perfect kind of thing for you to chat about in the chat box. If people have a favorite sitcom, whether it's all the way back in the 60s and 70s or whether it's, on the air right now, let us know a little bit more about that. Oh, Anita just joins as well. What's your
I
favorite?
loved Three's Company.
Yeah, me too. That's what I just said.
You
Three's
did?
Company. Jack Tripper, yeah.
I loved Three's
I just
Company.
Thought it was so funny.
Yeah. I also loved Kelsey Grammer in Frasier.
I like Golden Girls.
Oh, I love Golden Girls.
Golden Girls is good.
Who's your favorite Golden Girl?
I'm going to go with Blanche.
Okay.
She was kind of sassy.
She was spicy.
Yeah, she was sassy.
Yeah.
Sassy.
What else in the chat, Celeste? Anybody got
Dick
a
Van
favorite?
Dyke.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Don Knotts on Three's Company.
Oh, he was fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
Mr. Furley.
Mr. Roper.
No, Mr. Roper was the other one.
Yes, he was the other guy.
Yeah, and then
the landlord.
Yeah,
guy.
and then Furley's brother bought the building from the Ropers.
Yes.
And then made Furley the landlord.
This is a good one. Killicell 777. We haven't heard from you in a while. Good to hear from you. Sanford and Son.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Classic.
Yeah.
Married with Children. Big Bang Theory. You guys are awesome. Gilligan's Island. There's so many good shows.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nick
All
at
right.
Night. Here we come.
Hey, by the way. Yeah, so we invited Isabella. She's got her own fan club brewing
And
now.
Dave, too.
And Dave. Oh, Dave, have you got a fave? Wait, Dave, do you want to participate? Do you have a fave also? Favorite
Oh man, too many to list.
Okay.
Too many good sitcoms.
Okay.
We should just have like a sitcom, like
Sit down.
sitcom.
Oh,
sit down.
that's cute. I like
Order
that.
Pizza.
Okay.
Popcorn.
Right.
Your house?
Yeah,
or
my
Ron's?
house. Come
Ron
on.
has a really.
Here's what we'll do. We'll watch something, and we'll give you guys clues.
Yes.
And then you at home you can guess as to
We
which
can
sitcom we're
stream
talking
it
about.
on YouTube Live. All of us at my house on the couch.
Yeah, well, we don't have rights to that, but you can
Oh.
watch us watching.
Ron, don't be a party
The
pooper.
TV.
That's kind of weird. It's kind of like when your kids are watching the gamers
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
That's really what it is on
Okay.
Twitch.
Yeah, all right. One last chance, Dave. Oh, look at this. See, this guy's so busy. He's like, look, I'm an executive. Don't keep
Yeah.
coming to the Dave
numbers
count.
just popped again with Dave on the
Of
screen.
course they
Love
did.
you guys.
They did. Love you, buddy.
All right. One last topic, and then we're going to hand it over to Ty and Anita. So we had this whole topic today, Celeste. I love your stories of the day. Do you ever send back food or not? A new poll says 40% of people have never, ever complained or sent back the food.
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
Like, yeah, what if you order something that's too spicy and you can't eat it?
Yeah.
You know?
Have you guys ever worked in customer service?
Yes,
Okay.
many times.
And you know who else? Isabella. Oh, Dave. Out of the way, pal. Come on. All right. The Dave cam now is the Isabella cam. Isabella, grab that mic away from Dave. What were your what were your customer service experiences like? Did you run into a few angry customers occasionally?
I did, and it was never my fault. It was something was wrong with the food, but you know, I think as a restaurant server, I would rather the customers send back the food versus they don't do anything and then they complain to the manager
And then
after,
they don't
'cause
get,
that
and then
puts
they don't
me
give
in
you
an
a good
awkward
tip,
situation.
right?
Yeah, they sit there steamed and they don't give you
Yeah,
a
the
good
tip then suffers. I think Isabella's right.
Yeah, I know it. What about you? You've returned or not? You know what else?
Yes, because I'm very specific about how I order.
Oh.
And if it's wrong, then I will say, I'm sorry, I asked for no cheese. And I'll send it back.
I once worked with a satellite truck operator who was live, and he would constantly order at like Starbucks. He'd say, "May I have a venti with 2 Splendas at 125 degrees?"
Oh, no.
I'm not that
Oat
specific.
milk, and I'm like, Mike, seriously, right now.
All right. Good.
I can't do it.
Hey, why do you have tea here, Anita? What's happening
Today-
on YouTube, 11 to 11:30 with Ty? What's going on?
Today is International Tea Day.
Okay.
And so, do you guys know Joe from the English
Yes.
Tea Room?
Yes.
Is there tea?
The
There's
English
no
tea
tea.
room up there in Carefree?
So there's no
Carefree.
spilling the tea.
There's
this-
no spilling the tea. So she's in because she has this beautiful, beautiful tea room.
Yes.
So she's going to talk about the different teas, the traditions. Do you guys hold your pinky up?
Pinky?
All right, welcome on
Hi.
in. We have a quick change in here, you guys. We have just a couple seconds between the shows.
Yes.
Moving everything over.
Hi. It smells delicious and it looks delicious. It is International Tea Day. If you are joining us on the chat, raise of hands of who loves tea.
Yes, and we have just the place. If you, oh, first of all, Joe, can you see that? Watch that monitor up there.
Yes.
I have a surprise for you. Okay, so
Uh-oh.
that is the Phoenix skyline. But ready?
Okay, wait.
We're in London.
Yay!
Perfect.
That's live.
And I haven't got jet lag.
No!
It's great.
Isn't that great? They need to move it down a little bit, but you kind of get the idea. You can see the London Eye right there.
There it is.
Yeah, so we thought
It
why
works.
not? We're talking about English tea
Yep.
with a beautiful English woman. Is that correct to
Allegedly,
say?
yeah.
Allegedly.
Tell us where you're from, how long you've been in the States.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me back.
Scooch closer to the mic for us. There you
Here
go.
we are.
Thank you.
Hopefully people can hear me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me back. I've been on your show a few times for different things, and it's just really wonderful to be back here again. Originally, I was born in the south of England, and I've lived in the States for about 27 years now, and had my English tea room for 23 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your English tea room. We have video of it, and I want to show because it is
Oh, goody.
absolutely. Oops,
Oh.
the wrong video.
Oh, that's a cute video.
That is a,
Okay, but
that's
that's
a cute dog.
Dolly was here yesterday. She needed to be adopted.
Oh, I hope somebody did.
We're hoping that we get an update saying someone got her.
Yeah,
Someone
hopefully.
snatched her.
We're going to work on getting that video for you. I don't think it's loaded just yet, but
That's
we'll
okay.
find it because
Yeah.
your shop is absolutely gorgeous. You really do feel like you're transported somewhere else. It's
Thank
really
you.
magical.
It is. And, you know, when I first started all those years ago, there were quite a few naysayers. Oh, yeah, there I am leaning against a phone box. It is a phone
I have
box.
one of those photos
It's
as well.
not the TARDIS, it's a phone box. But yeah, all those years ago, I think people were a bit incredulous that I'd be able to serve hot tea in the hot desert. And yet
That's
here we
true.
still are, and we've gone through lots of different changes. The tea rooms really looks fabulous now. It's a much more glamorous version of itself. You can see there we have gorgeous crystal chandeliers and lots of roses everywhere, and teapots that seem to be magically stacked on top of each other.
We're already getting comments. Lisa Dinsmore likes Lipton tea.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Lil Philosophy likes sweet tea today. Sounds amazing. Good morning, Lisa. Got here a little bit late, but she's here. That's all that matters. And then Lil Philosophy says that your voice is very elegant.
That's what I always say. I could just listen to Joe read the
Yes.
phone book to me,
Yeah,
and
that's
I would
funny.
enjoy
We're
it.
already getting questions, and we haven't even gotten into your teas yet.
Good.
Troy S. is asking any good tea recommendations for digestive issues.
Yeah, well, that's a good question because tea used to be drunk for digestive issues. That was the whole purpose of it. Tea, when it was very first discovered, was a
Wow.
herbal drink or herbal drink, depending on how you say it. Potato, potato. And that was exactly why it was drunk, and generally drunk after a meal to help the digestion. But generally nowadays, if you're looking for something specific for digestion, anything with ginger in it is very good because that helps to settle the stomach. And if you're feeling a bit nauseous, peppermint is very good too.
I like to have a tea after a meal too because
Yes.
I feel like it just lightens me a little.
Yeah, and it depends on whether you were raised with tea or not, because the Brits drink tea for any occasion all the time. In fact,
Morning, noon, or night,
yeah,
right?
in fact,
Versus coffee?
Versus coffee. There's actually a study that was done of how much electric is consumed while watching a television program, and when the commercial break comes on, the electricity spikes because everybody puts the kettle on to make a cup of tea. Yeah, it's a fact. Everyone and if you watch British TV shows, you'll see how many times there's references to tea or making a cup of tea. We drink it, you know, morning, noon, and night, even just before we go to
Is
bed.
there
never
a
mind the
tea? So, for
caffeine.
example, Lipton tea here, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a very common brand type of tea. Where growing up, that's what we drink.
Right.
Like my mom always had. Anywhere you went, anyone's house you went to, they had the Lipton tea bags.
Yes.
So back home, is there a tea that everyone has?
Well,
a common
the
tea?
Lipton story in itself is quite interesting because Thomas Lipton was the first person back in the 19th century to really make tea accessible to people. It's got a bit of a bad rap over the years, but the history of tea was such that it was very expensive. And right when tea was first discovered, it was only served in grand houses by the lady of the house. The tea itself was kept under lock and key in a box, and the quote-unquote servants would set the table and pour, and the lady of the house would pour the tea. Hence, there's this expression we say in England, shall I be mother? It means, shall I pour the tea?
Oh,
but
look at us learning something.
Yeah,
here.
but
I
getting
love that.
so many comments.
But the tea itself was expensive. So Thomas Lipton, the story is really quite fascinating. He realized that in India at the time, there was a whole plantation of coffee bushes that had died because there was this particular blight that killed out all the coffee plantations, and he realized that you could grow tea there in the same soil and it wouldn't be affected.
Because it fertilized it.
Yes, but it wouldn't be affected by this blight. So he managed to own all the plantations and grow his own tea and then package it himself and ship it back to England, and it was sold in the equivalent of grocery stores back then much cheaper because he cut out the middleman. He wasn't trading, he was doing the whole thing himself. So that grocery image of Lipton tea is where that started, and in the beginning it was a very fine tea. It's had a bit of a bad rap over the years, but you know, I don't mind what tea people drink so long as they drink tea.
Jen, I wish I was drinking tea right now. If you wanted to pour me some,
Yes.
I would absolutely love it. Jen Wall says, love black teas. Sherry Nevada Pup says, what a beautiful setting to enjoy your tea. We have sun black teas, honey chamomile, Lil Philosophy. Oh, that smells delicious.
Doesn't it? You might have to pass me your
Vanilla
cup.
tea with a few good drops of sugar, tastes like Pepsi. Kim Winnett says she just had high tea in Manhattan on the 50th floor of the Ritz-Carlton. Kim, I'm jealous.
But you know what I love is that you do it here in Arizona for very affordable prices, because I know that people, when they go to New York, they want to do like high tea at the Plaza Hotel.
Right.
Something
Like $100.
fancy. It's it's more than that, I think.
Really?
At the Plaza, it's insane. But you do kind of like a real tea service at a much more reasonable
well, we
price.
think so. And the nice thing about our afternoon teas is that you can share the afternoon tea. What I have on the table here would be classified as a tea for two. So you've got 2 servings of everything. But a regular afternoon tea, a tea service for one, you could still easily share it between 2 people. And that's, I think, what makes it affordable.
Am I rude if I start drinking?
No, hold
let
on,
me
we have
let
to
me
ask.
tell you what you have,
Yeah,
and then I
figure
have
out
to
how
tell you
serve
this
it,
too.
right?
Yes. So I poured you a black tea. It's actually called Victorian London Fog, and it's like an Earl Grey. Earl Grey has a bergamot oil in it, but it also has lavender and vanilla, so it has a really round flavour. This is my very glamorous milk jug. Myself and the milk jug had a falling out.
Oh no! This morning?
It fell out the car.
No.
The whole jug?
Yes. So now we're
in the parking lot when you were packing, or while you were
while
driving?
I was here. So so we're improvising, which is what we're all about, right?
It's
so
beautiful.
Would you like some milk
Yes, please.
in my tray, glamorous milk jug?
So I never know when you add milk to
Whenever
tea.
you want, right?
Well, again, there's another story behind that. It's great tea.
Oh my gosh.
Years ago, the porcelain was very, very fine, and because of that, if you put boiling hot liquid into the china, it was likely to break, or at least to crack the porcelain. So the theory was, if you put the milk in first, and then you put the hot tea in, you're protecting the cup.
Oh, that's smart.
But the trouble is, once you've put too much milk in and then poured the hot tea on top, you're done. You
Yeah.
know, that it's going to be the way it is. I prefer it last, because then you can gauge how much you'd like. Would you
I'm
like
good,
milk?
thank you.
Okay, let me ask about
tea.
sugar now.
Yes.
You've got the sugar cubes here.
1 lump or 2.
Okay.
I'm making
Would
a
you-
nice mess
can
at
I,
the
can
table.
I lump myself then?
You may
Okay.
pour a lump.
May I
of
mother?
sugar.
What is it? May I do? May I?
Shall I be mother is when you
Shall
pour
I be
the tea.
mother?
1
Would
lump or
you
2.
like-
I don't take sugar, but
Oh.
thank you anyway.
Anita,
No
would you
sugar, I
like
don't
1
take-
lump or 2?
None,
We're both
thank
sweet
you.
enough.
Okay. All right. I'll
We're
put that
plenty
down.
sweet.
And then when you stir your tea, you stir
yeah,
it.
teach us
You
all of
stir
this.
it quietly, not as if you're ringing the school bell. There's a
Oh,
theory.
hold on. We got a close up. Hold on. We got to get a close up.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Oh,
look
that
at
looks
that.
Pretty.
That looks good enough to eat
It does.
and drink.
Okay, so you don't. Are you not supposed to touch the porcelain sides at all?
There's a theory of going back and forth. I stir it round and round, but try and do
Okay.
it quietly.
But how do I get my tea or my chunk of sugar to
It will.
melt?
It will dissolve.
Okay.
Have a little patience. That's,
Oh,
the-
you don't
that's
do
the whole
that.
part
Don't
of
do
tea.
that.
You don't knock
No,
it
we
down?
don't
Ring
need to
the
do
bell.
this. No, that's really obnoxious.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so what do? Just kind of give it a little
And then,
shake-a-roo?
if you put your hand, you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
So then put the spoon behind your cup.
Like
and then,
this?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
that way.
And now-
then
now
as
how do you-
as it's far away, I would suggest you pick both of them up. Normally you wouldn't, but we've got
A lot going on up
going
here.
on this table.
Okay.
And then you don't need to
Whoa.
put your pinky in the air.
No,
Okay.
we learned that.
It's a myth.
You came years ago,
Yeah.
the first time we met you, and
Yeah.
we said pinkies up, and you said
No,
no.
you don't need
I
to
also
do that.
said let's cheers, and what did you say?
Yeah, cheers is for beers.
No pinkies
Cheers is
up.
for beers.
So
Okay.
you just.
All right, so you
Okay.
can just.
I could drink a
It
gallon
does
of
taste
this.
so good, doesn't it?
I
No, you can't
No
slurp
slurping
either.
or burping. Yeah.
No slurping or burping. I don't think I'm
It's
sophisticated
difficult to
enough.
it's difficult to prevent, but
Okay, hold on.
at least say
No
excuse
slurping.
me. Perfect. See, there's
I
a
feel like I'm
microphone
being-
right
I feel
on
like
you, so
I'm
there's
being judged.
no pressure. You are. No,
Yeah.
we can have very casual tea with our milk jug. The
Yeah,
way it
since
is,
the milk jug's
and
out.
I spilt tea on the table too, but
That's
they say that's good
okay.
luck. So
That's
don't get too paranoid.
Joe, I was
about
going to
it.
ask you real quick because the way you prepared this, I don't know if folks got to see this, but you have like a little strainer thing.
Yes.
And then the actual.
The loose tea.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, the traditional way of drinking tea was always to have loose tea in a teapot. You warmed the pot first of all, and then you put the tea leaves in, and the amount of tea was always one each for whoever was going to be at the table and one for the pot, teaspoon-sized scoops of tea. And then you fill it up with hot water, and you use a strainer because you don't want to have all those tea leaves in your mouth.
Okay.
But did you know that the Americans invented the tea bag?
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's-
I would have, listen, we're very lazy here in America. I could see that we would invent something like that.
Well, there are two things in the tea industry they invented, the iced tea and the tea bag. And the tea bag was quite accidental because a East Coast merchant was sending tea to a West Coast merchant in a little silk bag, not unlike the little silk bags I have on the table down there. And not realizing that the merchant was supposed to open the bag, it would have been larger than that, quite a bit larger.
But similar.
But something
concept.
like that, yes.
Okay.
So he just dropped that.
So he
thing
dropped
in.
the whole thing in the teapot and thought, this is really convenient. I don't have to have all these tea leaves there. Send me some more. And so quite accidentally, the tea bag was invented.
Now, Joe, let me ask you about iced tea because you mentioned that was invented here in America. Is that kind of unheard of if you go to Europe or the UK and you ask for iced
Well, they
tea?
don't have ice in Europe.
That's true.
Honestly,
Try
I mean,
ordering a
I'm
gin and
Pol-
tonic with
Right.
ice. You'll get one ice cube.
Right, I'm Polish, and I took my husband to Poland a couple of years ago. We've been fortunate enough to travel to a couple of different countries, and he said, "Can I there's no ice. Everything's room temperature or out
You
of the
do get
fridge."
ice, but they're very frugal.
They're
with
very
it.
frugal.
They
You get a
measure it
cube or
out
two.
a bit like the sugar cubes.
Yes.
Yes. But iced tea itself was actually invented, again, an accidental choice at the 1904. Do you say St. Louis? St. Louis? St. Louis? The World Trade Fair.
Oh, wow.
And you had a couple of vendors there selling soda and selling out because it was a really hot day, and the hot tea merchant not selling anything. So at the end of the day, he dumped all the ice from his friends into his tea and was giving it away. And then people was like, this is great.
delicious.
This is so much nicer. Who wants hot tea when it's hot?
Can I ask you about?
Wait, we have to take a break.
Oh, already?
We'll be back in 2 minutes, you guys. We had 10 seconds before we go to break.
Maybe
So
an
we're going to
hour
have some
with
more
Joe.
tea. All right, welcome back. We're taking a live look this afternoon of London, United Kingdom. Beautiful day in London. What time? It was like, what, 7 something at night, I think? Beautiful evening there in London. You see the London Eye on the left. It's a beautiful skyline.
It is International Tea Day, and Joe is here from the English Tea Room. You're in Cave Creek.
English Rose Tea
English Rose
don't
Tea
forget the
Room.
rose.
Carefree, but that's okay.
Well, I guess the tea is hit.
Yeah,
We spiked hers.
I spiked it.
I was saying that I like to drink tea. It's been a day, Joe. I'm
know.
glad you're here with the tea.
I know.
I love drinking tea out of a proper cup.
Me too. And I think that's the difference between tea and coffee. When you think about coffee, it's more of a to-go situation. You know, you've got your coffee in your car, you've got it in your Stanley cup, and you're traveling, and it's more of a fast-paced kind of grab my coffee and go. And tea, just by its very nature, if you do traditional tea with the loose tea and the teapot and the strainer and the bone china, it takes a while. And that's the whole purpose of tea, is to just, you know,
Chill
take a few
out.
minutes
It'll
to
slow you
relax.
down a little
Absolutely.
bit.
I was going to ask you now, if you're just having like friends over, would you do kind of like a nice thing like this, or could you just throw some tea bags in a kettle and call it a day?
If my mother's visiting, yes.
Oh, you have to do that. You have to pull out all the stops.
If my mother's coming for tea, then yes. But
Okay.
generally speaking, no. It's a tea bag and a mug with some milk.
And now, is it generational too? Because you kind of mentioned your mom.
It
is.
is.
Like, is it more proper for the older generations?
I think so. I mean, certainly as a child growing up, I was taught to make tea, and I think modern-day mums would be horrified to think that you're allowing a 5-year-old child to have use of a boiling hot kettle and a teapot and making the tea. Yes. And then when we drunk the tea, we'd always toss the tea leaves out in the garden underneath the peony bush because it made the flowers grow better. So there was always this kind of ritual around tea. And my grandfather, when he was alive, was very particular about how quickly you made the tea. And if it wasn't appearing fast enough, he'd ask you if the tea boat had sunk.
Speaking of your grandfather, men, women, tea, the tea parties, a lot of the tea events that we see women going to, is kind of more of something that women celebrate.
Right, it is. And I think a lot of that is to do with the history, again, of tea. If you think back to the 18th, 19th century, the coffee houses of the day were very much places where men gathered to do business. They often served alcohol. There was gambling inside coffee houses. A lot of trade took place. In fact, the first banks and insurance companies started in coffee houses in London.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't generally a place that women went to, not nice ladies. Some women went there,
Oh.
but perhaps not the ladies that we're talking about.
Not Joe and I.
No.
Ladies of a certain disposition, let's
Oh,
say.
really?
Oh, yeah. So it had a reputation.
Okay.
So when tea came about, and Twinings actually started one of the first tea rooms in London, that became a much more socially acceptable place for ladies to go and enjoy the drink and go unchaperoned too, because back then it was seen as unseemly if you were out and about on your own, especially if you were going to have a meal or have a drink somewhere. But tea and tea rooms really started this whole social acceptability for ladies to go out and have tea with friends. And as a consequence of that, what do women do when they sit around a table and start chatting? They start talking about their husbands, they start talking about their lives, they start talking about politics and everything to do with the world, and realizing things aren't very fair for us, and the men are getting all of the vote, the men are getting all of the attention, and the whole temperance movement was formed from tea rooms.
Fascinating. You were talking about fairness, and I asked earlier about loose tea and the difference of quality teas, organic teas.
Yes.
There's so many on the market. I mean,
Yes.
how do you know to pick a box? Do you buy the loose tea?
Yes. Well, I think especially with it being International Tea Day today, one of the other things that the United Nations is looking to promote is that better understanding of fair trade, fair labour laws for some of these tea plantations, and making sure that they are treating their workers well, and that they're using fair pricing, and they're using good quality tea, all of those kinds of things. And you can see on the box when you buy it, it'll have a little label or logo that tells you that it's a fair trade and a fair labour.
Can we talk
plantation.
about, because you brought this beautiful spread, I might pick one up and then I'll just pass it around. You can
Yeah.
talk about kind of the different teas that you
Sure,
brought. Is that all right?
I think
start with, this is the hot cinnamon one. This one
It's
this
wonderful.
one smells
Yeah.
so good.
It's
Hold on, let me get a,
wonderful.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, how
So
do we
what is-
convey smell
I
over the
know,
airways?
I wish we could.
It's a black tea, and it has 5 different kinds of spices and cinnamon in it.
Does black tea have more caffeine than other teas?
It has to a degree. Really, all tea has a similar amount of caffeine.
So even like a chamomile?
Chamomile is a completely decaf tea. Actually, it's more of a tisane. It's actually, excuse me, not got any tea in it at all. It's just a herb. Anything that's herbal is referred to as a tisane. A decaf tea would be tea that's gone through a decaffeinated process. But tea, unlike coffee, when you drink tea, it has a much slower, gentler effect on your system, so you don't necessarily feel the effects of it immediately. Coffee is an instant jolt to the system.
This smells like Christmas.
That's what I said.
Doesn't
it smells like
so
cinnamon.
it has cinnamon and it has clove, it has hot cinnamon spices in it, and it really does give you that festive kind of feeling when you're smelling it. It's lovely iced, and it's great with cream or milk too.
All right, next one. Hold on. Oh, this is your favorite, Anita, the chamomile.
Yes. Chamomile or chamomile, and then peppermint is on the other side.
Peppermint is great when your tummy's upset.
Yeah.
And so the chamomile, they would give it to us when we weren't feeling well growing up.
Yes.
To try to put us to sleep.
Yeah, it's a very good for, it's soothing. A lot of people do take it in the evening along with a lavender because that's soothing
medicinal
too.
Purposes.
Yes, and again, as I said earlier on, that tea used to be for medicinal purposes.
Good.
What's quite interesting, if you read some of the history books about tea, when it was first discovered and brought back to Europe, people didn't really know what to do with it. And so you're looking at this leaf that's green that, for all intents and purposes, looks like a vegetable. So in the early days, people would boil it in a pan, throw the water away, and then eat the tea leaves.
Oh, really?
So you wonder how it ever caught on, really.
Huh. I brought over one of these too. So like when folks are at the store and they're looking for, I guess, a new tea, what should they be kind of looking for on the box? You kind of mentioned the fair trade, but I mean, when you can't open the boxes at the store, unfortunately, to smell it. So how do you kind of know, what are you kind of looking for?
And that's the thing. In our particular tea room, we have all of the teas that we sell available, and we serve them, so we can always bring something out so you can smell it, and they're all on the menu so you can taste them too. But when you actually see some of these tea stores that have a glass jar with the tea in it, the two things that will affect tea the quickest is light and moisture. So you never put your tea in the fridge.
Tea leaves.
Tea leaves, yeah, the tea leaves or tea, and anything that's stored in a glass jar and the sun can get to it, it will start to affect the flavor. It starts to destroy the flavor. So all tea should be served in a tin that's dark. But you're right, you can't see it, you can't smell it, but in our instance, you can because we have them available. This one here is called Bangkok, with it being an international tea day. I brought some teas with international names. And it's a green tea. It has
It smells like a green tea to
lemongrass and coconut. It has those Thai flavors. And I think this is what's so fabulous about tea. It's not just the black tea that your grandmother gave you. There's so many choices.
I'd love to hear from some of the people at home watching. How long do you brew it? Do you like it with the cream? Do you like it with the milk? Do you like it with the sugar? How are we serving the tea? How often do we do it? This may seem like a silly question because it's not.
You got a tea leaf stuck in your hair.
Oh, here I get
it's
it.
not an English tea.
It's a fashion statement.
Thank you. Not only do I drink my tea, I wear it. Matcha tea is taking off, and I know that's a Japanese tea,
right?
But it's interesting to see that teas are gaining in popularity.
They are, and I think it's a great thing too because, like I said, it's an opportunity to slow down a little and experience something that perhaps might be a little different to what you've had before. Tea has always been linked with health benefits. In fact, there's a very popular tea in England called PG Tips, and PG stood for pregestive, meaning that
Drink it before.
you drank it before you ate because it would help with digesting the food after. And back then, when tea was such a new phenomenon, the upper classes would have these huge meals, going on for hours with lots of courses. So probably something like tea would have been helpful. Interestingly, when tea became far more popular, the whole industry changed because during the Industrial Revolution, when people were working longer hours, they would have tea breaks where they were encouraged to drink tea because it had caffeine in it.
Give them
a little bit of a boost, and they could work longer hours.
We have about 3 minutes left. In addition to the tea, you do have these I know you talked about this is tea for two, but what's on the tray?
This is our formal afternoon tea, and it's an afternoon tea, not a high tea. High tea is actually something that's served at a table like this, but it's usually a hot meal. Something that's served on a tiered stand like that with the sandwiches and scones and pastries is called an afternoon tea. And we have traditional cucumber sandwiches, chicken and salmon sandwiches.
Those at the bottom, right?
Those are the
Okay.
cucumber
Ty's
ones, yeah.
dying to
The green
dig
ones.
into one of those.
And then we have scones with Devon cream, clotted cream from Devon in England.
Can we try one of those?
Yes, you're
Okay.
welcome to.
Now, what do I do? Do I just grab it?
So
I feel like I have to be
there's
mind my P's and Q's
no,
with
you
Joe
don't.
around.
You need to
Grab
grab
a
yourself a
plate,
plate
okay.
first of all,
And then just rip it off?
You can just take one of
Okay.
them, yeah.
All right.
You don't have to be too formal.
There's
Not,
a knife
it's not
there for
usual.
you.
There's a great big microphone right in
I
front
know,
of you when
it's
you're
a little
trying to
difficult,
eat.
right? Now, how
and
do you
then,
cut this?
And then pull it apart with your hands.
okay.
And unfortunately, I don't have napkins for you.
That's
so
all right.
That's okay.
We're used to being
We'll
messy.
lick our
You
fingers.
just
Oh.
pull
I
it,
think
pull
in
enough
half.
apart. Yes.
The
Oh,
other
in
way.
half?
The
This-
other
oh,
way.
this way.
Yeah, that would
Sorry,
work.
I wasn't.
That
That's
would work.
okay. I think
don't follow
I think
directions
it's a
very
little
well.
sturdier that
That's
way.
okay.
Okay.
And then you've got clotted cream. Maybe Anita, you might want to pass
yeah.
that to him.
Now, do you
What-
do the
what is
cream
this?
first?
It's called clotted cream, which doesn't actually sound very appetizing, but it's wonderful. It's a thick, heavy cream, and then the best thing to do is to take a scoop of it and put it on your plate.
Can you put it in your tea?
No, I wouldn't do it. Number one, I think it
Anita,
would sink,
no.
and it's really full of fat. It would just
Okay.
you just have this
So you just
slick
put
of
it-
fat on the
you
top.
put it on your
yeah,
plate.
we'll just practice with one bite.
Is that okay?
That's perfect. We can get into a food fight
As she
later.
laughs.
We can get into a food fight later.
Okay.
And then there's strawberry jam. You can grab some of that.
Okay.
Here's
And
a
there
little
is there a spoon?
Oh yeah, there's a spoon. This is
That
easy.
was the 15 seconds to set the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happens.
And you do the same thing?
Yeah, and put some of that on your plate too,
Okay.
and just enough for.
I like
to
a lot
try
of
it.
jam.
I do too. I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
for seconds here.
And
don't
any
mind
of my
me.
British friends that are watching, there's always the dilemma of do you put the jam on first and then the cream, or the cream on
I would
first?
do the cream and then the jam.
I do it the other way.
Oh, you do?
I do jam first and then the cream because
Okay, I'm gonna go
put,
the Joe
put the
way.
plate
Oh,
on the table.
sorry, ma'am.
That's quite all right.
I'm gonna move the seat.
1 minute left.
Oh.
Your location, how people get a hold of you. Do they need a reservation? Do you just show up?
Yes, perfect. Just put jam and cream on that however you want and stick it in your mouth. and chew with your mouth closed. English Rose Tea Room, we're in Carefree on the corner of Lucky Lane and Easy Street. We recommend reservations. Our website's carefreetea.com. We'd love to see people. We're open all summer. We do all sorts of great events. Don't talk.
Don't talk. Don't
But
slurp.
cho-
don't
but
burp.
don't choke either. The day she killed the host.
Delicious.
Good. I'm glad.
All right. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
We
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me
I know
here.
we're not supposed to
That's all right,
toast,
but I really appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Cheers, says Ty.
As he chokes to death.
We'll see everyone tomorrow. We'll make sure all this gets up on our...